皆さんどうも、ライトと申します。Hey, I'm Light, welcome, and I quickly want to tell a story and see where this goes. So my Japanese wife, she often tells me that I'm pretty slow when I do the dishes and the washing and so forth, the chores. And I tell her that she needs to be glad that I'm that slow. And then she asked me why. And then I said, because I get to study Japanese. And that is when I do the chores, I listen to Japanese contents on YouTube or Spotify, the conversation. I learn new vocabulary, or mainly I learn new things about Japan, and depending where you are in your study journey. Now, I'm a full-time YouTuber and game developer in Japan. I'm a pretty new game developer, and I have this project called Plainies Master Japanese on Steam if you're interested. But the point being is you can come to Japan and achieve anything you want as long as you don't stop. Now, I came here about a bit more than a decade ago, and I struggled with even like speaking English, and because I'm a Caucasian, they trusted me with teaching English because I did study in school, I studied some grammar and stuff, but I watched a lot of American movies and I never really used English that much. So I came here, I got myself a hiragana and katakana chart, and I studied those in about 2 weeks. And also after that I came to Japan, I got married, and I was an assistant language teacher, ALT. I enjoyed the kids, the schools, but not, I wanted to teach my own, kind of my own style, but that's a story for another day. Long story short, I didn't have a lot of time to study because I was married and I have 3 kids now, but got my first child and it was pretty busy. So what I would do is in the morning on my way to work, listen to Japanese, and then during lunchtime I would also study using Anki, like digital flashcards. And then so driving home, I would also listen. And then when I do the dishes or any chores, I would listen to Japanese. And that I mainly did because of pronunciation, because if you want to speak well, then you need to listen a lot. That's my first tip, like listen to as much Japanese as you can. There are plenty of podcasts which I will share in future videos. Now, so after that I had many other jobs, like working in a hotel as a waiter, a factory, at Juku, like after school, like a cram school. I've got a lot of experience, and I even applied for a kind of a place tester at a popular game, I would say like a subcontracting game company doing play testing here in Saga. And all in all, I really struggled with a lot of things, but I never stopped. And I always just listened to Japanese and used Anki and played a little game here and there, read some books. And it's really about the long story or the long vision you see for yourself. Because this isn't a real life RPG you're playing, right? So you can create your own character, your skills, speaking, writing, listening, and reading. All skills just depends on your actions, right? For me, I don't really like to just read any Japanese book. I like to pick up something I'm generally curious about. That's another tip. If you're not curious about something, you don't want to learn a skill in a specific, like if you're reading a fishing book and you don't like fishing, it's not going to go well. I started with a Death Note, then I went to psychology and programming, and then I also turned that into game development. So that's my dream, to be a full-time YouTuber and game developer in Japan, which I am now. Financially, it's not the best. Yesterday I went for a checkup at the dentist, and I had to pay about 4,000 yen just to clean my teeth. They said I did a good job, so they didn't really need to do anything. It just, cost me that much money. So I pay everything from my pocket. And but I'm really happy doing what I do, making what I make. Yeah, I'm super happy with my life in Japan. I don't have to live here anymore because I mainly work from the house, and I have 3 kids, so that's really important to get out sometimes, because I'm so indulged in my own projects. And yeah, so it's safe here, it's quiet. I wanted to live in a bigger city when I was younger, like Fukuoka, but now I'm living in the center of Kyushu, so it's very easy to go anywhere. And I guess if you're learning Japanese and you don't know why, then maybe ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is it to travel, to live here? Because living in Japan is much different. It's much different than like a vacation. A 3-month visa versus a lifetime. Because when you go to the doctor, dentist, taxes, all those things, you do it in Japanese if you're living in Japan. And you don't need to live here if you don't. Well, you can still be fluent in Japanese and not live in Japan, because I've seen people who used Anki, books, videos, anime to get fluent, and it's all possible if you just decide on something. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. They don't know which method to pick, but I encourage people to pick something you enjoy, because you will stop if you don't enjoy the journey. It's like a game. If you play the game and it's not fun, you stop, because there's no vision, no... Oh, another thing is the cognitive load. If you just listen to podcasts endlessly, you don't really learn a lot. But if it's something small, short, on repeat, you pick up on some patterns. That's a good way to start. And maybe I can elaborate more on certain resources, but at the end of the day, if you have a vision and you just keep going, even if it's going like maybe with 15 minutes of study time per day, if that's your thing, that's good. That's good, very good. Because 15 minutes of focus time is much better than just listening to something while you do the dishes, I think. But for me, it was always, whenever I have time, fill it with something Japanese related. And today I'm kind of the opposite. When I have a break, I don't just do Japanese exposure. Like, I don't just read when I have time, because reading for me is part of my day. So now for me, it's kind of the opposite, yeah. For me, having free time, I would play a certain game with my boy, or spend it with my family, going to the park, But before, I created the habits, and now it feels like normal to me to read a programming book in Japanese, because it's not seen as study time anymore. It's seen as a more experienced Japanese versus studying, right? And the amount of time a Japanese kid, for example, gets exposed to Japanese is all the time. So you want to increase that as much as possible, and then things will stick. You might not understand the meaning, but the patterns, they will stick. The particles, they're difficult, the wa, the ga, the ni, the de, and sometimes you just need that constant exposure to for it to stick, right? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And you can check the Anki decks in the description, the Plainies game on Steam, or Kanji Cafe. またね。